This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
The real work is here locally, and that's where a lot of African Americans are just not engaged. They're not engaged enough.
For the first time in 20 years, black voter turnout is down despite record voting numbers in the 2016 presidential elections. The number of African Americans going to the polls dropped more than 5%. Why? And what can be done to get more people of all races involved in the political process? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on what caused lower turnout among black Americans coming up. But first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight in Sarasota County, where an audit is uncovering $8 million in unpaid fraudulent property tax exemptions claimed by homeowners who applied for and were granted them even though their Sarasota property isn't their primary residence. Sarasota County is the first in the state to do an extensive audit. The county property appraiser submitted a total of 110,000 homestead exemptions to an outside auditing firm that found 547 property owners were collecting a tax break they didn't qualify for. At this point, $6.7 million has been paid back. The county is still waiting to collect $1.6 million. The uncollected balances will be added as liens on the homes.
The money gets all paid to the tax collector, who then pays back every taxing authority who should have had the money in the first place. So, you know, you've got all the county debt, the school board, EMS.
Although the numbers seem high, the number of fraud cases is lower than expected. The audit typically reveals 1 to 2% of cases are fraudulent. Sarasota only had 0.5%. Happening tonight, the city of Sarasota is hosting a public meeting with Sarasota Memorial Hospital about plans to add a new parking garage to the hospital's downtown campus. SMH says right now, on some days, there are only 50 spaces available. That's why it's adding a new 600-space parking garage. Crews will build it on the west side of the hospital between Arlington and Hawthorne Streets. The project is expected to cost around $12 million. Construction will begin in November and will be completed by December 2018. An update on the efforts to remove Venice's lime pits. After more than 30 years, they are finally being removed from Pine Brook Park. Tonight, we're learning the company hired will scoop out all the lime, do soil tests, then fill the area with dirt and gravel. This was the most expensive option, costing around $2.5 million. Venice's city manager says it is the responsible choice.
It's pretty deep, so they'll be using some deep excavating appliances to actually dig the lime out. The lime has another use. It will be reused for fertilizer material.
Work will begin in the next few weeks. Once the lime pits are gone, the chain link fences surrounding the site will be removed, opening up a large part of Pine Brook Park to the public for the first time in decades. The Diocese of Venice is expanding into the West Villages, announcing it is buying property near US 41 and River Road to build a new church. The diocese owns 20 acres in the area, but recently did a swap with the West Villages to acquire a 40-acre parcel. Bishop Frank Duane says the goal is to meet the existing and future pastoral needs due to rapid growth in the area. The West Villages is the 4th fastest selling community in the U.S. A follow-up now on a Sarasota restaurant owner who was arrested for violating a noise ordinance. The state has dropped the charge against Scott Lubor, the owner of the Freckled Fin restaurant in Bradenton Beach. He was arrested in early April because of live entertainment at his restaurant. Bradenton Beach police say numerous complaints and warnings forced them to take action. Since the arrest, the commission has debated changing the current noise ordinance. An investigation is underway into what caused a boat to capsize in Sarasota Bay, leaving 3 children hanging on for dear life. It happened near the Ringling Museum yesterday. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission is investigating. Early indications point to a possible problem with the driver not having the boat's trim tabs in the right position. While the FWC is investigating, we talked to a member of the Sarasota Police Marine Unit who says inexperience may also be to blame.
Just because they took some water in over the transom doesn't mean the boat had to sink. If you have the experience to recognize that's a problem and you're aware of your surroundings, there are actions you can take to get rid of that water.
No one was hurt. The boys were returned to their parents at the 10th Street boat ramp. Summer's arriving, which means it's going to get even warmer and humid, and that means more mosquitoes. Now, Sarasota County is updating its spraying technology for the first time in 2 decades. Until now, mosquito techs leaned out of their windows and sprayed from the left side of the road, driving against traffic. But a new prototype device sends a stream of liquid into ditches. Technicians can use a monitor while operating the spray with a joystick. It costs around $700 to make the device, and once approved, they will be installed in all vehicles. And the reminder, hurricane season is also coming. It begins Thursday, and we'll begin kicking it off with an hour-long surviving hurricane special from 7 to 8 o'clock. Our weather team will go over evacuation routes, shelter information, what you need in your supply kit, and much more. You'll also be able to call in with your storm-related questions. That is Thursday, June 1st at 7 p.m. And now for a check on the weather, we go to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A beautiful day it was today, although a bit hazy out there. Temperature's still pretty warm, 87 degrees, lots of sunshine. Not many storms or showers near the coast. Most of the action today inland. We have a west-northwest wind at 12, and that has really pushed a lot of the activity well inland, pushing off toward the east-northeast. So not much near the coast, although there's a slight chance we could see 1 or 2 lone showers later on this evening near the coast from outflow from these earlier storms that are going to be winding down here the next couple of hours in the interior portions. Pretty big cell right there northwest of Wauchula, and the 20% rain chance near the coast throughout the rest of the evening. As far as the winds go, they're basically out of the west-northwest all across the region, with the exception of the far interior portions of the viewing area. They're out of the southwest there, but generally the westerly flow anywhere from 5 to 10 miles an hour, so not too windy through this evening. We'll see a few clouds around. I mentioned we'll keep a 20% chance for a passing shower in the mix through this evening. Temperature staying into the mid to upper 70s. Right on through 11 o'clock. We'll have much more in our forecast coming up a little bit later. Back to you.
Bob, thank you. And still to come, on the decline. The last time black voter turnout went down was when Bill Clinton was in office. So why did it drop during the 2016 election? Political analysts share their perspectives when we return.
The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. They're my savior. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main, first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC7 and these sponsors. Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining. the official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
There are a lot of reasons why Donald Trump won last fall's presidential election and a lot of reasons Hillary Clinton lost. Among them, the turnout rate of black voters declined for the first time in 20 years in the presidential election. Why? Dwayne Lindo is here with more. Dwayne.
Well, Alan, according to some, this is a complicated question. Some point to voter ID laws or economics. But one thing is for certain. Many community leaders are looking for numbers to rise in the future.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
After President Trump pulls what some experts call a huge upset in the 2016 presidential race, research polls find the voter turnout rate at more than 61% was higher than 2012. But for black voters, that wasn't the case.
A lot of African Americans, they kind of fell off or just wasn't that engaged like they were.
According to the Pew Research Center, the black voter turnout rate declined for the first time in 20 years in a presidential election, falling to 59.6% in 2016 after reaching a record high 66.7% in 2012. In Florida, black turnout fell by 4.2 percentage points. Former Bradenton City Council candidate Keenan Wooten says the drop can be attributed to a bigger issue.
I can tie that to just living conditions, the wealth gap here in America, where most African American families are struggling.
And according to Wooten, it's African American millennials that are struggling the most.
And there was a study that said most millennials are staying home with their parents. They're struggling trying to find their way, struggling with life situations. So then they have to come around and try to stay active on the political scale, but that might not be a reality when I'm trying to find out what I'm going to eat tonight, what I'm going to do tonight.
And Wooten is right. The turnout rate increased across racial and ethnic groups with the exception of black millennials, 49.4% of whom turned out in 2016, compared with 55% in 2012, a decline that can be attributed to one common denominator.
No one can come after President Barack Obama as far as the African American community is concerned. I mean, he's their hero. He's our hero.
Barack Obama was no longer on the ballot, and that took a toll.
New College of Florida political professor Frank Alcock says candidates on either side may not have inspired as much enthusiasm as they could have.
You can't pinpoint it with either the campaign and candidacy or the black community, but I think there does need to be a better understanding on all sides that you have to work really, really hard to engage all constituencies.
Wooten says he's more concerned with African American turnout being worse with local races.
The real work is here locally, and that's where a lot of African Americans are just not engaged and not engaged enough. I try to hold these local politicians accountable to be visible, to go to the people, and not just coming out during election time. Stay visible so African Americans can gain your trust and know, hey, I'm in the trenches with you.
Bottom line, says Wooten, the number of voters in the black community needs to increase.
African Americans have been more engaged in the critiquing process of critiquing President Trump, but we're still not engaged at the polls.
Now, Alan, while black turnout declined dramatically, Latino and Asian American turnout went up even more.
All right, a lot to talk about, Dwayne. Thank you. When we come back, we have an elections expert and reaction from members of the community, as well as the Sarasota Manatee Black Caucus, when we take it to the trapezoid.
How long have we been married there?
For 76 years.
He was kind and generous to me before we married, and he was kind and generous to me all these years. We decided on Meals on Wheels because I was getting to the point where I couldn't do all the things that I had been able to do. We're the Spans. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
Watch ABC7's Osprey Cam on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Opera TV. And get an exclusive bird's eye view of Sarah and Soda, our own resident Osprey couple. With ABC7's state-of-the-art high-definition Osprey Cam with night vision, you'll get an up-close and personal look at all the Osprey action live 24/7. And you might just be the first to spot an egg. Search ABC7 on your streaming device. Download the free ABC7 channel app and click on Osprey Cam. Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, math seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Welcome back. Why did African American voter turnout drop in 2016? Let's start by looking at the numbers. November's election set a record with more than 137 million Americans casting a ballot for president. However, according to Pew Research, the percentage of black voters participating nationwide dropped more than 66% in 2012 to 59%. It was a similar situation in Florida. Our State Division of Elections shows black turnout went from 72% to 69%. So what's behind this dramatic shift? Joining us for more is Rodney Jones, president of the Manatee County NAACP, Cornell Maxfield, president of the Manatee Sarasota Democratic Black Caucus, and Jack Riley, an assistant professor of political science at New College of Florida. Welcome to all of you. Jack, I want to start with you. In terms of the numbers you see here, what difference did this make in the eventual outcome?
I mean, I think that when we talk about the eventual outcome of this past election, we're talking about just 3 or 4 states where the election was determined by a very small number of votes on the grand scale of things. So everything mattered.
Right. So, I mean, was this determinative in places like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin?
I mean, it could have been. That's a hard counterfactual to go for because other things could have been determinative too. It certainly didn't help. Right.
Rodney, when you first heard about the numbers from Pew Research, what went through your mind?
I wasn't surprised. I think black community was somewhat disenchanted with both candidates. And then there's still a great feeling of being disenfranchised from the system because regardless of, many feel that regardless of what regime has been in, whether it's been a Republican regime or Democratic Party has had some control, that black people have still been, we still suffer. We haven't found our way here in America, and many feel that, you know, voting, especially out of our younger population, black community, they just don't see the value in their vote.
I want to take this into the 2 different areas that you just mentioned. Number one, when you and I talked about this issue previously, you said that this is really being felt when it comes to millennial voters, that unlike their parents, and I believe, Jack, you told me that 90% of African Americans usually vote Democratic, that millennials have less identification with the Democratic Party or either political party.
Yeah, that's true. I believe that's true. Also, you know, I feel too that the Democratic Party somewhat took the black vote for granted. I'm not afraid to say that, and they should not have. They automatically assume that if you're black, you're going to vote Democrat, and a lot of people just didn't turn out to the polls for the presidential election.
Well, Cornell, up to now, you've been the president of the Manatee and Sarasota Black Caucus. When somebody like Rodney says that, and you've worked, I know how hard you worked in the last election. I mean, I would imagine that hurts.
Yeah. Well, like Rodney, I was not surprised by those percentages because I hear often that the black vote is down, and you know, I understand that there are many, many reasons why a black vote might be down at different points in our history. But right now, I really, really think that what's happening transcends the black vote and transcends race, and that there is something else happening in our country, and that Americans are, the American vote is really what is at issue right now.
Well, let me ask the question from this perspective, since our area went pretty substantially for Donald Trump, and the president, when he was a candidate, went into inner city Detroit and said, why not give me a shot? What do you have to lose? Is it possible that the people who live in our community heard that, and that's in fact what they did? Cornell?
I believe that some people, I believe that that did resonate with some folks. I believe that it did. I believe that it resonated with the people who have been feeling disenfranchised and had been feeling taken advantage of and taken for granted by the Democratic Party. And we know that that's the case.
Jack, I want to get to one other area before we go to the break. As Dwayne reported in his story, at the same time, Hispanic and Asian voting was up. What's the difference there?
I think the biggest difference is who we just had as president in many cases. We didn't have a Hispanic president, we had an African-American president. And I think that was probably a significant factor, although a lot of this is just float within what you'd expect.
So if we had next time a Hispanic nominee from either party, do you think that the Hispanic community would come out in even a higher percentage because it would be a first of its kind nomination?
That's quite possible. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that when people see someone on the ballot they identify with, in some fashion, they're more likely to turn out to vote for that person.
All right. We're just getting started with our conversation, and we will pick it up right after we check on the weather. Stay with us.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
Since 2014, Addiction Hope and Helpline has answered calls for recovery and treatment 24/7, 365 days a year. If you're depressed, drinking, using drugs, or taking pills, call now and talk to someone who cares.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Most insurance covers substance abuse. You can get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call 800-622-1941. 800-622-1941.
If you've ever had a bad night's sleep, call and price the new Craftmatic Legacy. It has so much more than other adjustables and still costs up to 50% less, featuring a rising adjustable pillow rest to support your head, neck, and shoulders, bedside power plugs, under bed night lights, and more. So call and price one today for less, up to 50% less than Tempur-Pedic, Sleep Number, and other adjustables.
You get so much more and it still costs less. You gotta see how little they cost.
Call 1-800-774-8103. That's 1-800-774-8103. Call now.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
Our discussion of voter turnout in the African American community continues in a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. Well, the great weather continuing in from the holiday weekend, and it was a little bit warm today. Highs were a little bit above average, and a few showers developed along the sea breeze front in the interior portions of the viewing area. This is fire, by the way. You can see that just kind of staying right where it is. And then showers coming in. They're moving off to the northeast, basically. There's still some outflow from these storms that are around that are kicking off other showers. We'll keep a 20% chance for a coastal shower in the mix once that sea breeze breaks down late tonight, but that rain chance still very small. The air quality index a little high. You may have noticed some haze in the atmosphere. It's 78. That puts it in the moderate range, and still we could see similar conditions again tomorrow. Let's hope it stays there. And you can see a couple of areas of energy, one over Texas, another one over Louisiana. They're all kind of streaming off to the east. Most of it's going to miss us, but there'll be enough lift in the atmosphere to bring a little bit better chance for a few scattered showers and storms, especially on Thursday and into Friday. Sarasota Braden Airport right now 87, 86 in Braden. Venice now at the end of the pier there, a little closer to water. 84 degrees, a little bit cooler. 91 the high today, above average of 88. The 97 record set back in 1955. And this morning's low is warm, summer-like 74 degrees. Doing really well for the month of May, and not the best for the year. We're 5 inches below average, and we could see a little bit of rainfall near the coast, but most of the action will be inland. I think a better chance, though, tomorrow for a few coastal showers to develop, but the bulk of the precipitation should be inland in the afternoon and evening on through the day on Wednesday. Well, the flow, we call it zonal flow, meaning that the zone, it stays in the zone, basically moving west to the east. There's no meridional flow, which you normally get during the winter months, which really drives the cold air down. So things are going to stay west to east for us. And as these disturbances move all the way from the Four Corners region near Arizona all the way over, we'll see a better chance for scattered storms, I think, through the next several days, even into the weekend. You'll notice this moisture here traveling off toward the northwest. That's around an area of high pressure, which is setting up for a summer pattern, which normally does this time of year. Really, we'll start to see that a little earlier than normal, but showers and storms breaking out in the late afternoon and evening in the interior portions and then pushing toward the coast later in the evening. We'll see similar conditions on Thursday with the bulk in the central portion of our viewing area. But in reality, the whole peninsula needs the rainfall. Winds out of the southeast for boaters tomorrow looking good. Seas running right around 2 feet and a light chop out there. Water temperature really starting to warm up, 85 degrees. UV index will be at 10. And the forecast for tides, upcoming tides, low tide just after midnight. High tide will be at 7:57, sunset at 8:20. And the forecast tonight, 20% chance for a coastal shower or two. 74 tomorrow. Mostly sunny, a little bit better chance for scattered storms. High of 89. The extended forecast and the rain chances increasing to 50 to 60% right through the weekend. Won't be a washout. There'll be scattered mainly afternoon and evening storms with highs in the upper 80s. Alan will be right back after this.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-962-4112. That's 1-800-962-4112. Call now, 1-800-962-4112. For a free brochure, call 1-800-962-4112.
Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main, first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC7 and these sponsors.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing African American turnout in the 2016 presidential election and what factors affect the way minority groups vote. Our guests tonight are Rodney Jones, president of the Manatee County NAACP, Cornell Maxfield, president of the Manatee-Sarasota Democratic Black Caucus, and Jack Riley, an assistant professor of political science at New College of Florida. Rodney, I guess the impression I get from what you tell me is that, look, we had Barack Obama for 8 years, and there are a lot of people in the African community who think that's great, but we didn't solve a lot of the problems that our community has.
Yeah, very true, especially out of what I'm hearing from many of our younger voters. We did have eight years of our first black president, but many believe that nothing was truly delivered at a level that would impact them in their everyday lives. So, and many of our younger voters have been, you know, quite verbal about it and quite angry about what they consider to be a missed opportunity for gains for blacks. Coupled with, I think, that happened in the last election, this huge demographic shift that we've been talking about for the last decade or more, where blacks, Hispanics, and other minority populations together will now form a majority here in the United States, and I think that frightened many people.
Because we heard a lot during this campaign that because of the increase in the African American community, Hispanic community, Asian community, that demographics is destiny, and that the Democrats would have a mortal lock on the White House. And you're saying that you believe that just scared the dickens out of white voters.
Yeah. You know, it motivated, especially as we know our rural communities came out in numbers. I think Mr. Trump he was, I think, pretty masterful in getting that population out to vote because they showed up in numbers, and I witnessed it at many of the supervisor election office, the number of folks that I would consider rural community that were showing up to vote.
I would imagine a good number of our more conservative viewers to this broadcast are going to say, good, you know, that the African American community should give the Republican Party a chance. And if they made inroads in this last election, there'll be more inroads in the next election. And Cornell, you are with the Democratic Party. If this, you know, was there, number one, was there something that Hillary Clinton could have done but didn't? And what do you do now?
Well, lots of things she could have done. Lots of, you know, when Rodney talks about the feeling that Barack Obama didn't deliver, I think that's an issue of education. And Hillary could have done a lot more to educate, you know, the electorate on why she was the best candidate. But I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on what Hillary could have done better. Hillary, I think that education and on the issues would solve that issue with our young folks thinking that Barack Obama didn't deliver for them. The issue of the demographics taking over, and, you know, a campaign based on fear of a demographic taking over. So what the Democratic Party can do is run a campaign that is a message that is based on values that touch the hearts of people, that's not based on fear. Because what we saw was an election that was won based on
Jack, are political scientists everywhere studying this research and trying to figure out where do we go from here, knowing full well in terms of predictions and models, you know, I don't want to blame the political science community or pollsters, but you didn't do so good last time.
We didn't do that well last time. And I think what this election really shows is that old-time politics still matter. Democrats have been making the argument for a decade, if not more now, that demographics is destiny, as you've said. And it's almost like Democrats have taken this as an excuse to not reach out the way they need to. You need to make arguments to voters about what you're going to do for them and why they should vote for you.
What you seem to be saying is specific suggestions in terms of what you could do for them, not just an uplifting message. So again, Cornell, and Ronnie, is the community looking for specific ideas, whether it comes to income inequality or criminal justice? And I don't want to generalize here, but you know, what is the community looking for?
I think all those things that you just said, every category where African Americans, blacks have been last, whether it's academic attainment, socioeconomics, leading incarceration rates, health disparities, I mean, we are at the bottom. And you get tired of being at the bottom, you get disenchanted for a little while. So, you know, when you talk about Democrat and Republican, that means less and less to certain populations because they all see it the same, regardless who's in. It's been the same. We've been at the bottom, we're suffering, and guess what? We're just going to abandon the system. I think that's probably not the best move because you abandon the system to what? It's like jumping out of a boat and not having another one. So what happened, I believe in this, even though it was that percentage of increase was not good, I think we weakened our position in our political position because everyone knows that whoever gets the most votes and makes the most noise, they get the attention. So I think as it comes to having our needs met and finally being an equal partner in this American society, I don't think that was the best move to steer away from the polls, but I can certainly understand the logic on why they did it because it's the way they feel. And I can say I honestly feel that way too.
We have less than a minute left before the break, but I want to ask you, within the Democratic Party, going up the chain of command all the way from the state to the national party, is there kind of some kind of introspection to figure out how to fix these things and do a better job in messaging?
Oh, lots of it, yes, absolutely, because the messaging has to be, you know, within our own party. We've got to understand what will draw people out. Who do we have to have on ballots to excite the folks in the neighborhood? I've got to have someone who looks like me if you want to get me out to vote. Okay. So
let's take a quick break, and when we return, we will have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, an MTV reality show on Siesta Key.
Dead boat batteries sinking your spirits? Right now, you can save $10 on Duracell Ultramarine batteries at Batteries Plus Bulbs.
We should have named it the SS Going Nowhere.
Visit batteriesplus.com for a store near you.
Download ABC7's official Suncoast weather app onto all your devices so you can stay informed wherever you go. With our full-featured weather app, you get weather alerts, interactive radar maps, current conditions, 10-day forecasts, and weather video from ABC7, all at your fingertips. And it's free. The ABC7 official Suncoast weather app, sponsored by 1 Hour Air. Just search Suncoast WX in the App Store and download yours today.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. Graduating kindergartners teach us life lessons, new mommy must-have products, and the Indian table in the kitchen. Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
Welcome back. What could be done to get African American voters to the polls, and how could increasing the turnout impact national, state, and local elections? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Jack, that brings up another issue that we're not just dealing about presidential elections. We're talking about state elections and local elections and the impact that lower numbers have on that. Is that something that the political science community is looking at?
Yeah, the story with all state and local elections is that they get lower turnout overall than national elections, and they get disproportionately lower turnout among African Americans, among young people, and among people that are not Republicans, essentially.
Quick question. We're going to be going into a midterm here where the president is having a lot of problems. There is an overall attitude about what's happening. Do you see any reversals in the trends that Democrats don't do as well in midterms as Republicans usually?
It's not usually Democrats not doing all that well in midterms. That's been the story recently. It's usually the party that's not in power that does well in midterms. So I think Democrats can expect a pretty good 2018, although the map is pretty bad in the Senate for them.
Right, but locally, Cornell, if you have that window of opportunity and you're involved both in terms of the African American community and the Democratic Party, what are you doing now to gear up for that and to get people to the polls who took a flyer last time?
Oh, lots of talking, lots of mailing, lots of calling. I tell you, it is exhilarating to take ownership and responsibility for, your quality of life. And so that's the message that we work to impart, and Keenan Wooten in the opening segment talked about the importance of the local elections, and the Black Caucus locally here works really hard with that message, and how important it is to get the local election.
Rodney, talk to area Republicans and Democrats here who have been watching what's been happening in the news, and some like what they're seeing from this new president and new administration. And then you have Democrats, at least on the national election, trying to tell people in all communities, see, we told you so.
Yeah. Well, if people enjoy presidency of scandal, this is it, because it's been riddled with it and haven't really haven't been able to focus on the true issues of the country due to all the scandal. But for me, Democrat or Republican, I'm interested in results. Black people, African Americans, we've suffered in this country. We haven't been equal partners for a long time. The data proves it across a wide array, across every genre, and we need something different. So, Democrat or Republican, I'm interested in who's going to produce.
All right, well, we'll have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about last night's topic, MTV's upcoming reality show, Siesta Key. The show is set on the Suncoast Barrier Island and follows a group of elite college students returning home for the summer, while those close to the project say it won't focus on partying or a spring break atmosphere. Some worry that it will still misrepresent the community, and here's what some of you are saying. Zanny Arrayas writes, Siesta already has more than enough publicity, plus Sarasota has always been the type of place that you can take your kids to the beach at sunset. We do not need Siesta turning into a party beach where a bunch of drunk people are causing a ruckus. Jake Perlman writes, I'm not a fan of the concept, everybody's laughing, but I welcome it because it will encourage more big film projects to happen. And Becky Wells writes, I know someone whose son is one of the cast members. I just hope the whole thing does not embarrass SRQ. I sure miss our small, quiet little town. Well, what do you think about voter turnout, particularly in the African American community? Join the conversation by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Rodney Jones is the president of the Manatee County NAACP. Cornell Maxfield is president of the Manatee-Sarasota Democratic Black Caucus. And Jack Riley is an assistant professor of political science at New College of Florida. When we return, the stock market took a dive after news of the Comey memo broke. But it's bouncing back. What does it mean for Washington and in terms of the shakeup of the market? We'll break it down with business commentator Richard Stern. Plus, the site of the worst nuclear disaster in U.S. history is preparing to close. Find out why 3 Mile Island is finally shutting down in our prime time headlines.
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
ABC7, My Suncoast News. We're here for you. Watch My Suncoast News wherever you are, on our live stream, on our newly redesigned MySuncoast.com, and a brand new ABC7 My Suncoast app, powered by the Eye Associates, providing sight for life, featuring traffic maps and live radar, and dining with recipes in all the hottest Suncoast restaurants. Visit MySuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab to download the ABC7 My Suncoast app for iOS and Android.
Welcome back. On our last market segment, we talked about how the market seemed indifferent to the turmoil in Washington and the Trump administration. The very next day, we were proved wrong. The Dow dropped 373 points, nearly 2%, collateral damage from a release of the memo from former FBI Director James Comey saying Trump asked him to stop the investigation of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. So is that the standard for what it takes to shake the market? ABC7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us with more on this. Richard, we've been talking about this for months now.
Correct.
Do you have to have something like that to shake the market?
Well, apparently, because 2 weeks ago I was dead wrong. I said the market simply is not reacting to what's happening in Washington because the market's been so strong. Yes, we were down 372 points, but ironically, we've been up ever since. We've made up the entire loss from that day, plus a little bit. The market's been up 7 days in a row. Everything is still back on keel. So apparently we do react, but apparently it's also very short term.
Well, that raises two questions. Number one is that does that prove the underlying strength of the market, that you could have something as momentous as the Comey letter and what came out again after that, but the market reacts and then recovers?
Apparently the answer to that is yes, because if we take a look at what's been happening, interest rates continue to be low. They're probably going to go higher, but interest rates are low. People are looking for places to put their money, and they're looking at Amazon, they're looking at IBM, they're looking at General Electric, whatever they're looking at. They're not buying bonds. Short of real estate, where are they going to go? So the answer is the underlying strength of the market is still there, and there's still a lot of cash on the sidelines.
What is the underlying reason that the market would react because of that kind of major news? Is it because that there was an assumption that this president and this administration would pursue policies that would be favorable to the stock market, and then if there is a scandal or turmoil that would, off track that agenda?
I think that's very possible. I won't say likely, but possible. One of the things that investors look at, of course, is taxation. And it's been promised, or at least, I guess promised is a good word, that they're going to come up with some kind of a taxation package that's going to help particularly the wealthy, in all honesty. And if that happens, you're certainly going to see a stronger market. You're also looking at repatriation of dollars to the U.S., major companies that have billions of dollars outside. So there's a lot of money that could pour back into the market, and the underlying strength is very real.
But so long as the administration's concentration is on defending itself in terms of the Russia investigation and Congress is investigating it, we're not hearing as much about that kind of agenda right now.
Absolutely, because right now they're just in defensive mode, I believe. But I think what you're seeing is that regardless of the news day to day, and you and I know every day is a new adventure, regardless of the news of the day, people are still looking at stocks that are paying good dividends, that have historically reported very strong earnings. Companies like Home Depot had terrific earnings. Best Buy had terrific earnings. And guess what? These stocks are going up 3 and 4% a day with earnings.
And we only have a couple of seconds left, but interest rates, if they're hiked, is that already baked into the calculation?
I think 2 hikes this year are baked in. Most people believe that rates will go up for sure in June when the Fed meets, and probably again in September. The real question is, might it be a 3rd rate hike this year? Most people think not, so too is baked into the market.
Okay, Richard, thank you. Richard Stern is business commentator for ABC7 News. He joins us every other week for a check on the market. Your primetime headlines are coming up right after this break.
You love your couch and want to protect it from spills, food, and scratching, shedding pets. Introducing Couch Coat, the reversible, washable quilted cover that protects your couch. Shield against spills, wow, stop stains, and dirty pet paws and sharp claws. Plus, it's reversible with 2 stylish colors. Guaranteed to fit any couch up to 92 inches or your money back. It even has covers to protect armrests. Machine washable too.
My grandkids destroy everything, but with Couch Coat, my couch is always protected, looking as good as it did the day I bought it.
Get your Couch Coat for just $19.99, and it's reversible in brown and cream, like 2 couch coats for the price of 1. Order right now, and you can double your offer. Get a second Couch Coat. Just pay a separate fee. Order right now.
Call 1-800-943-0710 to get your couch coat. Call now or go to couchcoat.com. So call 1-800-943-0710. That's 1-800-943-0710. Call now.
If you want 24/7 access to ABC7's breaking news stories, weather forecasts, traffic alerts, health reports, Suncoast View, and more ABC7 programming, now there's good news. Introducing the free ABC7 channel on Amazon Fire TV. Your 24/7 access to ABC7. Just search ABC7 on the streaming device and download the free ABC7 channel app. Or if you don't have an Amazon Fire TV, you can get one at Amazon.com. We asked you, Suncoast, why do you like ABC7?
I like ABC7 because it's local. It gives me all the local news.
The local news, local weather.
It's so local and so community-driven.
Kelly Wilgus does a great job.
John Scalzi, that's my guy.
Bob Harrigan is wonderful. Stephanie's my favorite.
I like Scott Dennis.
I like them all.
We're all very grateful that you cover what you do and you're here to participate with the community.
ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Just go do it. Go do it. If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Now for your primetime headlines. The Russia investigation is expanding, now sweeping up President Trump's personal attorney. This comes as a senior member of Trump's communication team is out amid talk of a major staff shakeup in the White House. ABC's Lana Zach has the latest from Washington.
For the first time in more than 2 weeks, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer took to the podium, asked about the allegation that the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, suggested setting up a secret back channel with the Kremlin.
So does the White House dispute that happened?
I'm not going to get into it, but your question presupposes facts that have not been confirmed.
Spicer did not deny the account, but took issue with what he called a shared frustration that he and the president have with the media.
He is frustrated, like I am and like so many others, to see stories come out that are patently false.
And then after spending more than a third of the briefing recapping the president's trip, Spicer abruptly ended the briefing.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
One reporter shouting out, "Is Kushner fake news?" President Trump has been downplaying the substance of the Russia investigation, but Republican Senator John McCain says that Russian President Vladimir Putin poses a bigger threat to the United States than even ISIS.
It's the Russians who tried to destroy the very fundamental of democracy, and that is to change the outcome of an American election.
All of this as the Russia investigation has expanded to include President Trump's personal attorney and close confidant Michael Cohen. Cohen is not cooperating at this time, telling ABC News that he declined the invitation to participate as the request was poorly phrased, overly broad, and not capable of being answered. In response, the Senate Intelligence Committee that requested the documents from Cohen has now been granted subpoena powers. Spicer did confirm that the president is meeting with 2 more candidates to replace the fired FBI director, and that when he meets with the right candidate, he'll let us know. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
Now to the latest on the man accused of stabbing 3 people in Portland, Oregon, Jeremy Joseph Christian, appearing in court today. Authorities say the 37-year-old was hurling anti-Muslim slurs at a 16-year-old and her friend who was wearing a hijab. When 3 people intervened, police say Christian stabbed them. 2 of the men were killed. 1 man is in the hospital. Christian is facing charges, including aggravated murder and attempted murder. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. 2 officers involved in the fatal shooting of a Cleveland boy are under fire tonight. The city of Cleveland fired Officer Timothy Lohman and suspended Officer Frank Garmbach today. They were both involved in the 2014 shooting death of 12-year-old Tamir Rice. Lohman allegedly shot Rice, and Garmbach drove the cruiser that skidded to a stop near the boy. The officers were originally responding to a report of a man waving a gun, but Rice had a pellet gun. Cleveland's police chief says the shooting was a dark day for the city.
Well, this has been tough on our entire community, and definitely on the Rice family. When this happened, excuse me, in 2014, I made the comment that this is, of course, a tragedy, but it's even more tragic that it happened at the hands of a Cleveland police officer.
Neither officer was punished specifically for the shooting. Lohman was fired for lying on his job application, and Garmbach's suspension is for driving the car too close to Rice. The city paid Rice's family $6 million to settle their lawsuit. New developments in the DUI arrest of Tiger Woods. Court documents show police in Jupiter found the golfer belted into the driver's seat of his car, asleep at the wheel. The car was running, and Woods had to be woken up. Officers say Woods had slow and slurred speech, but his blood alcohol level was 0. Woods says he had an unexpected reaction to prescribed medication for his back surgery. His fans are standing by him.
He's a community member, and I think that, we should support him.
Woods is still being charged with driving under the influence. He is set to appear in court on July 5th. It was the site of the worst nuclear disaster in U.S. history, and now 3 Mile Island is shutting down. The plant experienced a partial reactor meltdown in 1979, triggering nationwide protests. And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohen. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night.